it was kind of almost a reversal in a way with the way the Astros were playing against the Yankees. They did some silly things. We'll get to it in a bit, but it was kind of like a role reversal when I was watching that game.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. He's Brian McKeon. We're both lifelong Yankee fans, me for a little longer than him, but we've been hosting the show together since April of 2024. And Brian, we've seen a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember Trent Grisham on the bench under Alex Verdugo for 5 games in the World Series.
We're going to get into that in a bit. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to Locked On Yankees on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We are just about 150 away from 10,000 subscribers. So subscribe to us, like our video, or videos, because there's a bunch of them. Hit the bell so you're notified whenever our videos go live, and tell your friends about us if they're Yankee fans, or even if they're not. We have Red Sox fans watching us, Astros fans, Orioles fans. Everyone loves us. Yeah. And we have a TikTok page. If you're there, follow us at LockedOn_Yankees. On today's show, we preview Game 2 against the Astros. We discuss the Yankees putting Stanton in left field on Tuesday night. Brian has a platoon theory they may be working on, and I kind of have the same theory. What does it all mean? We're going to talk about it. But first, the Yankees did what we needed them to do in Game 1 against the Astros.
Yeah, it wasn't the base hit method where we get a little more confidence going forward of how they're going to play, but it was on the long ball, and it was on something that they have not done particularly well since last year's World Series, and that is field. Yeah. They put on a fielding clinic in this game between the 2 amazing plays that McMahon made at third base, which aren't really a surprise to anyone, but still are amazing plays. Max Fried out there in the field, and we'll talk about his pitching in a second, but in the field was outrageously great. Heads up plays, aware, unbelievable job out of Max Fried. And then the plays that Stanton made out in left field, where they're taking a chance, putting him in left field, made some really good reads off the wall. It's almost as if he is a good athlete and can play the outfield. Again, we'll get to those things too, but those are my big observations for this game, because even though it was the Powerball and you don't necessarily love to see them winning games with just the home run, they played a very sound game of baseball, which is something that they have been rare to do this year.
Yeah, and against the Astros, because this is the knock on the Yankees, that they can't beat the teams that they need to beat, and they beat them in this game, and they did it convincingly, and It was kind of almost a reversal in a way with the way the Astros were playing against the Yankees. They did some silly things. We'll get to it in a bit, but it was kind of like a role reversal when I was watching that game.
Yeah, I'd agree. And what was crazy too about the power too is Valdez does not give up a lot of home runs.
No,
he gives up he is the lowest home run per 9 in all of baseball when it comes to starting pitchers. And the fact that they really got to him in this game. There's no way about it. They got to him for sure. And the power they've shown all season, you talk about a guy like Jazz, who's now approaching 30 home runs. Trent Grisham, who's now approaching 30 home runs. 2 guys that maybe you would have guessed Jazz for sure at the start of the year, not Trent Grisham. No one had Trent Grisham on their bingo card in 30 home runs this year. No. And the fact that you're getting those kind of contributions out of those guys it's unbelievably clutch. And like you said, these are teams that they have not been accustomed to beating this year. They have gained themselves a reputation of beating up on the bad teams. And certainly you have to do that throughout the year. Yeah. But if you can do that and prove to yourself, again, we wanted 7 wins on this 12-game stretch. We thought 7-5 would give us confidence going into October. You're at 1, 6 to go. Get those 7 wins and I'll feel good about this. And this was a convincing one. This was a really, really good win.
You mentioned the Valdez thing. So this is what's interesting. When Jazz hit the home run off him, the first home run, his 27th home run, also his 500th career hit, he was only the second lefty to homer off of Valdez this season. The other one was Vinny Pasquantino from the Royals, who did it way back on April 26th. And as you said, he entered Tuesday's game with the fewest home runs allowed per 9 innings in all of baseball. And then Grisham hits the grand slam and makes himself the third lefty to homer off Valdez in 2025. He also has 3 grand slams on the season. He's the first Yankee with 3 grand slams in the regular season since Nick Swisher, of all people, in 2012. And coming into the season, Grisham only had 2 grand slams in his career, and now he has 5.
Yeah, wow, that's incredible. Unbelievable the performance that Grisham's given this year. I mean, no one could have saw this coming. We knew he was the fielder that he is. The power stroke, I don't know where this came from. I don't know at all, but good for the Yankees.
We're enjoying it, Trent. Thank you.
Enjoy your Yankee fans. If you want Cody Bellinger on this team next year, enjoy your last few weeks with Trent Grisham. Because someone's going to pay him. Someone is going to pay him this offseason.
Yeah, and it most likely won't be the Yankees. And then Jazz hit his second home run of the game, his 28th of the season. And as you said, Grisham's at 29. Jazz is at 28. We spoke about it the other day that the Yankees are closing in on having a bunch of dudes hitting at least 20 home runs. And now we're going to have a number of them hitting 30 home runs in the season, which is incredible.
Who's more impressive, Jazz's 30 or Grisham's 30? Not more surprising, more impressive.
I would say Grisham, because like you said, no one really expected this to happen. But in the back of my mind, when he was wasting away on the bench while Alex Verdugo was playing in 2024, I thought to myself, in the limited time that he did play, when he was playing steadily but limited, does that make sense? Like when he had a run of games when he was playing, he looked good. And then the Yankees were like, oh, Verdugo's back. Like when Verdugo was injured and then they were playing Grisham.
Verdugo.
Yeah. And I saw that this could possibly be maybe not 29 home runs, maybe like between 20 and 25 home runs, but a solid season. This is a bit higher than I thought he'd go, but this is definitely more surprising than.
They got 18 out of him last year, which is, and for the amount that he played is unbelievable. I would say too, just the amount of time Jazz missed though early on in the year. He missed almost 2 months, and to get 30 home runs when missing that amount of time is really impressive. It was over a month. That's really impressive to me too. And remember, when he came back, he was into like a really big funk when he came back. It took him a while to get going. Just overall, those two guys, unbelievably impressive. Can we get to Max Fried though? Speaking of impressive stuff.
Yes. Let's talk about him.
The best way I can describe it is he pitched angry.
Yeah.
He pitched like he was out there that he was done with this bleep and going out there to try and win, hold a game, win a game, an important game. He was a bulldog type ace on the mound out there. He pitched a lot of the time like we see Garrett Cole pitch.
Yeah.
Just angry, PO'd out there on the mound and just throwing. His velocity was up slightly. Location was perfect. He was all over the infield. I mean, his fielding was outrageous. Got the force at third base at one point. Got the play at first. That was impressive too. He had an unbelievable game. I think this is his best game as a Yankee, and that's saying something with how good he's been all year.
Yeah, that double play he made on that really, what were the, Michael Kay had said it, but what were the Astros thinking in that inning? What did they do? They played themselves out of anything in that inning. They may not have had a chance to come back, but the Astros have been known to make things sweaty for the Yankees late in games. So they really just played themselves out of that inning by that bunt. That seemed like a Yankee thing to do. It really did. So, Fried pitched 7 innings, 1 run on 4 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Now, I was questioning just a little bit when Fried came out for the 7th after the 6th inning that he had. But then again, the Astros basically played themselves out of that inning, and he helped himself by playing really good defense too. But it was a really good outing. He's definitely turned himself around since 100%. That funk he was in. I really think the finger was bothering him, and I think they didn't want to say anything.
It was that 6-game stretch where he was pitching really poorly, where the ERA was in the 6s.
Yeah.
Since then, the 3 games since, his ERA is below 1. Yeah. And before that, the ERA was below 2. So he's really rounded himself back into form. And you know what? I'll take those 6 games in the middle of the season right there to get him back to form for the postseason.
So when Boone brings Blackburn in the 8th inning, I jokingly said on Blue Sky, is this lead big enough for Paul Blackburn? And then he pitched a 1-2-3 inning. Yep.
Turns out it was.
I thought to myself, okay, so I reverse jinxed it, right? Because I was thinking, oh man, this might actually be bad. And it wasn't like any 3 guys. It was Correa, Altuve, and Walker. It wasn't
heart of their lineup. Their lineup.
It was amazing. I thought, wow, okay. And then So this was the perfect game, right? We talked about this. You needed the Yankees starters to go deep. Fried did. You had Blackburn there because the offense did its job by giving them a big enough lead where you didn't have to go to the main guys in the bullpen.
True. Good point.
This was like the perfect start for this gauntlet that they're in for the next 12 games, or now 11.
And we want them to be aggressive with the bullpen, but the fact that Blackburn and the lead they had afforded them, and the length Fried gave them, afforded them not to have to burn any of those bullpen arms. Now you can use all of your highest weapons tomorrow if it's a one-run game. And that's exactly the position you wanted to put yourself in. So the only thing that I would have liked to see is then to manufacture runs without hitting the long ball, but some games you're going to win like that. And at least they had the long ball to do it in this game. So overall, really good win. And again, we're at a bare minimum, we want 7 wins out of these 12 to give us some confidence going into the month of October. They're at 1, 6 to go. That's the way I'm going to look at this.
Yep. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notifications so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You'll get text from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades and signings. We send out lineups during the season, roster moves, and any breaking news so you don't have to check social media. There's a 14-day free trial. Coming up, Giancarlo Stanton was in left field on Tuesday, did a good job in left field on Tuesday against the Astros. And Brian thinks they may be working on a new platoon idea for the postseason. What does it all mean? We'll try to figure it out next.
Hey, Locked On Yankees fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Well, stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code SEASON and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 per year just from buying the gas that you already needed. At first, I thought it was too good to be true, but it is totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited time promo code SEASON for a limited time 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code SEASON. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. And this episode is also brought to you by Gametime. There is nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person. But what about actually getting tickets? That seems to be the tough part. Queues, login screens, surprise fees, it all takes the fun out of the whole experience. And that's why I'm a big user of Gametime, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. Gametime is fast, easy, and backed up by the Gametime guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all the fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. I saw Oasis 2 nights ago, one of the best concert experiences in my life, and Gametime made the experience so much more simple. I was able to buy the tickets in the parking lot, right on my phone immediately. Couldn't have been faster, cheaper, and less stressful. There's no other better way to buy tickets and no other way better than I've bought tickets. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today.
Everyone's favorite day of the week is coming up, Fan Mail Friday. If you're on YouTube, this is how you can leave us questions for Fan Mail Friday. I say us, but I really mean Brian, because he will be alone this week for Fan Mail Friday. So go to our channels page on YouTube, click on the post tab, leave your questions for Brian. The deadline is Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And remember, that post is only for Fan Mail Friday questions.
So I've got a theory. Aaron Boone spoke to the media before the game on Tuesday and basically said that they are still unclear of when Aaron Judge will return to the field, which to me tells me they're a little nervous. But basically what Aaron Boone left them at is it could happen at any moment, any day, which I don't love an answer from manager. He basically confirmed that you could turn on your phone tomorrow and look on Instagram and see him in the lineup in right field tomorrow or next week or October 1st. We don't know, and we're not telling anyone. Almost like it's a football strategy. I don't know. Maybe Aaron Boone got inspired by watching football yesterday live. We'll talk about that in a second, too. I don't love that. But then the lineup comes out later on Tuesday, and you see Giancarlo Stanton not in right field, in left field, which I find very interesting with the Crawford boxes out there. I didn't quite understand why they would try him out in left field. And then I started letting my brain work a little bit. And I started thinking, well, they're not going to start Jason Dominguez out there against a lefty because they don't trust him as a right-handed batter, which just makes understandable. His numbers have not been great this year against righties.
Right.
But when your lefty is out of the starting rotation and they clearly trust Jason Dominguez against righties, and then teams go to their bullpen where they're more apt to put in righties because they quite frankly have more righties in their bullpen than they do lefties because every team's got more righties in their roster than lefties. You might want Jason Dominguez in the lineup. And what better guy to pinch run for Giancarlo Stanton when he hits a double than Jason Dominguez, who's really fast, who is able to run the bases pretty well. And then I think they trust in the field probably more than Giancarlo Stanton out there, and still is a viable hitter to replace Stanton in the cleanup hole, the 5 hole, the 3 hole, wherever they're hitting Stanton that random night because they change it up every night. Still is a viable hitter to have as a righty out there who's got some decent amount of power, as a lefty, who's got some decent amount of power, but could also put the ball in play and create some havoc on the base paths. A guy they want to get involved in the game. Plus, every time you take Stanton out, you are putting in a guy that has speed and then putting in another guy with the outfield solidly. Now you're not using 2 bench players, you're using 1. So now if you take Giancarlo Stanton out of left field and pinch run him for Jose Caballero, who is a base running machine, you're not going to put him in left field. He doesn't really play left field a lot. Now you can put him in left field. He's able to do it, but he doesn't play left field a lot. You're going to put in Bellinger. But now you can use Jason Dominguez, who has that speed and is able to replace Giancarlo Stanton almost seamlessly without burning 2 bench pieces. I think there's a legitimate possibility that the Yankees are trying out a way to see if they can start Giancarlo Stanton in playoff games, particularly against lefties, and to eventually move that to a platoon of going to Jason Dominguez whenever it seems necessary. Whenever Dominguez's quote-unquote lane comes, when Giancarlo Stanton hits a single but they need some activity on the bases, you put Dominguez in. Whenever Giancarlo hits a double, but you need to try and screen this run needs to score on a base hit, you put in Dominguez. I think there's a chance they're working on this, and they're seeing right now where Houston's not the easiest left field to play in baseball. No. And I think they're trying to see right now if Stanton can handle it. Because if he can for 4 to 6 innings per night, they might go with this, because once Judge is healthy, this now gets Judge in right, Stanton in left in the field, and now you can have Goldschmidt at first, which is what you prefer. You can have Ben Rice DHing, and you can have Austin Wells, how they view metrically the better defensive catcher behind the plate. I think that's what they're trying to do, and they're trying to build their lineup that way. Mm-hmm. Not going to lie, I kind of like it a lot.
It's interesting that it's happening now, and I think it's happening now because maybe Judge isn't coming back as quickly as they thought he would.
At all. He's not coming back nearly as quick as they thought he would. And I don't know if they're fully sure on when he's coming back.
Right. But and I think they're thinking...
do you think they're exploring DHing him full time?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. But I think they're exploring this because there's a month until the playoffs, and this is the perfect time now, instead of springing it on everyone in the playoffs, to get them used to this situation.
The only thing, to your point, that I don't like about exploring this now is the timing.
Right.
You choose the start of this 12-game stretch to now start testing things out.
Like this particular, like if they were playing, if the situation were reversed where they were playing like the Twins, the Orioles, like teams like that.
That's when you do it.
Do it then. But yeah, I was a little worried about Stanton out there because, like you said, even though left field in Houston is not tremendously huge because of the way the Crawford boxes come out, you still have that weird space beyond the Crawford boxes that if the center fielder can't get to it.
Yeah. That weird triangle you have right there. And plus the ball ricochet is very weird off the Crawford boxes over there too. So but he made a very nice play on a ricochet off the wall too. I just want to note that too. Stanton has not been a butcher in the field.
No.
Despite what the Yankees will lead you to believe, he has not been bad in the field at all. I think he can really handle his own. I think they are terrified of him hurting himself.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And I do think he's very well aware to not dive after a ball. I think he would dive after a ball in the postseason if it was necessary, but right now I think he's very well aware to not dive after a ball. But I think this platoon idea is a legitimate thing that they're working on, because they don't trust Dominguez in games against lefties, but they don't not want him in games. And there's always an opportunity to get him in late. There always is, because again, there's more righties coming out of the bullpen than lefties. Plus, a lot of teams are going to go to a lot more righties going forward against the Yankees too, because they're going to try and get Aaron Judge out and Giancarlo Stanton out. A lot of the Yankees power righty bats that they have. So there's a really good possibility going forward. This is what they try and do, and able to get Dominguez into games. So you don't have to start him against lefties where he struggles, but you can get him in later in the game. And he's the perfect guy to come in for Stanton when you're not killing two bench pieces, which is super valuable in the postseason, by the way. Yes. Bench pieces are super valuable. You're going to need that. Another thing I wanted to bring up to you before we break, because this is very important. I'm sure you saw Monday nights, because there were not a lot of baseball games being played, and the big TV thing was Bill Belichick's UNC debut as head coach. And Aaron Boone's son, Brandon Boone, is an offensive analyst for UNC. And Aaron Boone was spotted at the game. Personally, I'm going to sit here and tell you, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But sometimes it's better to look in the mirror and think of, what does this look like? What are the optics here?
Right.
How is this going to be viewed publicly? And I'm sorry, him if Bill Belichick was coaching the Texas Longhorns and they play in Austin and Houston's an hour away, I don't think that's a problem.
Right. Or if it was reversed and they played right. I didn't realize it was North Carolina.
Yeah. The fact that he's in, any scenario painted, right? If they're playing the Marlins and Bill Belichick's coaching, Miami.
Right.
I have no problem.
That makes sense. Yes.
To be in North Carolina the day before your team goes into the biggest 12-game stretch, the most defining stretch of their season.
Yeah.
And to be dumb enough, too. If you want to go to support your son, I get it. We've all got families now. I'm sure his son would have understood. If, first of all, it's not like Brandon Boone is the head coach of UNC or the offensive coordinator or the quarterback. Okay, he's an offensive analyst. He's sitting in the booth, collecting data on plays. I'm all for supporting your kids, but he's not the offensive coordinator. Let's calm down, first of all. Second of all, if you really want to go support your kid, and again, I'm all for that, sit in the press box where there's a chance the camera doesn't spot you. Why are you on the field? Why do you need to be there and be seen? It's just, again, I don't have a major problem with it. These guys are all grown men. They're baseball players. I get it. The look is so bad to be spotted at this game when you're going into a massive stretch in September. It's not a good look, Stacey. Because remember, the team went to Houston directly after their last game because they had their whole fantasy football draft party, which means Aaron Boone got on a separate plane to North Carolina to go to this game with Michael Jordan and all the celebrities that were at the game, and then flew back to Houston instead of, watching tape, going over analytics, whatever the Yankees should be doing, preparing for a game the night before again in a massive series. Don't love that. Also, UNC got killed in this game, and they interviewed Brandon Boone after the game, and he said, "Loved what I saw on offense. Team looked great out there. They did a lot of really good things. We'll get him next time."
He's kidding.
That's probably what he said. Runs in the pen.
All right, coming up, we're going to preview Game 2 against the Astros in Houston, and we'll tell you about some news from around the league.
Guys, let's be honest. Most people can't name all of their financial accounts or even what they're worth. And whether it's the 401ks, properties, or investments, and when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving a lot of money on the table. And that's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal financial tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. And if you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you, and you can link all of your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of all of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. So don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code OneWordLockedOnMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code OneWordLockedOnMLB. And guys, not only do we cover your team every single day, but we are also giving you instant episodes after every single game. Check out the Locked On Yankees postcast. It's hosted by Jay Berman, and it appears right here on the Locked On Yankees podcast feed and it also streams on our YouTube channel. Get a rapid reaction to all the biggest moments with the Locked On Yankees postcast. So tomorrow, later on tonight, 8:10 p.m., it'll be a prime video game. Will Warren, who's 8-6 with a 4.30 against Jason Alexander, not from Seinfeld, 4-1 with a 4.61 ERA. We'll see if they can get some hits off of him because they certainly couldn't do it last time. And then again, Thursday's game, you get a half hour earlier. That'll save a lot of time on your guys' agendas. Thursday at 7:40 it'll be Yes Game. Carlos Rodon, 15-7 with a 3.18 against Christian Javier, 1-1 with a 3.38. Again, great start to the series, winning game 1. We'll see if they can continue this. We want 7 wins. They got set. They had 6 more to go.
Isn't it interesting how the ERAs for all 6 pitchers basically are really close to each other? Because both Fried and Valdez were very close together in ERAs. You have Warren and Alexander both in the 4s. You have Rodon and Javier. It's kind of interesting how they match that up. I mean, I know it just happened to be that way, but
they're very similar teams, these two, except when the Astros kind of like to stagger their bad play in between their good play, so it doesn't look as bad. The Yankees win a lot. They're the best team in baseball, then they're the worst team in baseball, and then hopefully they're going to become the best team in baseball again. The Astros just kind of stagger it.
The Yankees are like a giga coaster, like one of those roller coasters where the first hill is above 300 feet, right? And then you go down. Woo! That's basically what the Yankees are like, because they're really high at first, and then they drop to the ground, and then they go back up for the second hill.
It's a really, really good point. Now, we discussed on yesterday's show that massive Mariners-Rays series that really doesn't benefit the Mariners at all. And these games are now really important because the Rays are pushing towards a wild card spot. They don't seem to lose anymore. The Mariners are trying to chase the Houston Astros behind to try and get them. So both of these series matter a ton. And it didn't benefit the Mariners, who are a pitching team going into Tampa where the ball flies out of that ballpark. Well, Stacey, on Tuesday night, the Mariners lose 6-5 to the Rays. On Monday night, the Rays beat the Mariners 10-2.
Right.
So the Rays are getting the offense. The Mariners are not. So it's not boding well. The Mariners had a chance to build some room back on the Astros. Weren't able to do it. Yankees tried helping them out. Didn't work out. As it stands, before we get to news around the league, Yankees 4.5 up for the first wild card spot. The Red Sox are tied with them for that first wild card spot. The third wild card spot is held by the Mariners. But because they lost and the Rangers have now won 3 in a row, the Rangers are only 1 game back at the Seattle Mariners for that final wild card spot. The Kansas City Royals, who aren't losing anymore, are now 2.5 back at that wild card spot. And don't look now. The Tampa Bay Rays have leaped over. They were behind the Athletics, the Angels, and the Guardians. They've leapfrogged all of those teams. They are now 3 games back of the final wild card spot. They were 7 games out of it, which is so Rays. So Rays. It makes so much sense out of them. So we'll see. The Rockies still sit 36 games out of the final wild card spot. So we'll see how that one works out for them.
Speaking of that.
Yeah. The bench is cleared in the Rockies-Giants game because Rafael Devers admired one of his home runs, which, by the way, he is hitting a ton of home runs lately. Just finished August with the most home runs in a month in his career. So he's really feeling it out in San Francisco. He stared at it a little too long. Kyle Freeland didn't like that. And 3 players wound up getting ejected. Chapman, Adames, and for the Giants, and Freeland for the Rockies. What are we doing? Stacey, I'm like, I don't mind the celebration. I think some guys take it a little too far. My argument will always stand and always stay true to this. You don't like when guys celebrate home runs? Don't give up home runs.
Right.
Don't let him hit one. Then he can't celebrate.
Yeah.
Kyle Tucker was pulled from Tuesday's game with left calf tightness. That is not good. Roman Anthony was pulled from his game with oblique tightness, which is not ideal for the Boston Red Sox.
Not at this point in the season.
No. And really sad news out of Arizona. Not that they were really competing for much, but Lord Scolariello Jr., he is done for the year with a torn ACL, probably done for most of next season too. So that's a really brutal time to get an injury. Shohei Ohtani hit his 100th home run as a Dodger, which is crazy. He got to that quick after missing a whole year. And you want to give us the story from PNC Park because we see one of these every single year. It is unbelievable how it keeps happening.
So allegedly, a fan in PNC Park said they flew 23 hours to watch the Pirates, said it on their sign in both English and Japanese, and they showed it on the Jumbotron. And as soon as the guy saw himself on the Jumbotron and people got to read that sign, he flipped it over and it said, "Bob, sell the team," in both English and Japanese. And then the Jumbotron went to focus on someone else.
And this couples after the Yankees played them early on in the year, and the fans actively in the building were chanting, "Sell the team." It is a bad look out there. And you know what? The owner brought this on himself.
Yes.
Your payroll's $50 million. Make it work. I'm sorry. This is a guy who had Garrett Cole on his pitching staff, now has Paul Skeens. He traded away Garrett Cole. I'm sure at some point he's going to trade away Paul Skeens. It's pathetic out there. Figure it out. You have plenty of money. The Pittsburgh Pirates are not a dumpster organization.
You have one of the best ballparks, if not the best, in Major League Baseball, and you're wasting your fans' time. Every single year in and year out, you're just wasting their time by not spending any money.
About it a lot more over the off season, because we love doing that on our off season shows. But it is quite pathetic. So I don't have a problem with this. Tell them to sell the team. To do it more. That's the only reason the Pittsburgh Pirates fans should have to go to a game right now. Is to chant "Sell the team."
Yes. Yeah. All right, it's another big moment for Locked On College football fans. Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation along two-time AP Coach of the Year, Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts. The college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We will catch you guys tomorrow.